Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving into a deeply personal, remarkably honest guide titled How I Build Wealth as a Full-Time Student. Now, if you're a young adult who is just totally sick of that overnight millionaire hype on social media, you are in the right place. I'm going to level with you. I have no massive salary, I don't have rich parents, and I absolutely refuse to participate in any get-rich-quick schemes. Instead, I want to show you my raw, disciplined approach to building a financial fortress from the absolute ground up, using nothing but a tight student budget and a whole lot of patience. Quietly building real wealth right now. Honestly, that quote really sets the tone for us today. This isn't about flashing cash or buying luxury cars. It's about the very unglamorous reality of living on a tiny student income. Let me be real with you for a second. Living frugally like this, it can feel boring. It feels restrictive, and sometimes, it's even a little isolating when your friends are going out. But taking total, unshakable control over the few dollars I do actually have is exactly what makes this strategy work. This isn't hyped up financial advice from some internet guru. It's just one student talking to another, sharing the honest, practical reality of what to do with every single spare dollar. So here is our roadmap for today. First, wealth on zero income. Then we'll walk through the system. Step 1 is the cash buffer, Step 2 is the fund engine, and Step 3 is disciplined stock picks. Finally, we'll wrap up with the rules for unstoppable growth. All right, let's jump right into Section 1, wealth on zero income. The foundation of my strategy is extreme frugality, basically living uncomfortably lean right now. Now, you might be wondering, why put yourself through that? Well, because the dollars I invest today as a student are literally the most powerful dollars I will ever have in my entire life. When your income is practically zero, the absolute only lever you have total control over is how much of it you keep. By aggressively controlling my spending, I get that money into the market early, which lets it work powerfully for a decade or more before most people our age even start thinking about retirement. So building this into an actual actionable system requires a strict order of operations. First, you build a buffer. Second, you build a core of funds. And third, only if you want to, you add a small slice of individual stocks. You absolutely cannot skip around here. The order is everything when you're starting with barely anything. Which brings us to Step 1, the cash buffer, your absolute safety net. This buffer needs to cover 3 to 6 months of your total living costs. You just calculate your rent, your groceries, your basic bills. Let's say that's roughly $1,500 a month, and you multiply that by 3 to 6. That money goes into a completely separate savings account, and honestly, I pretend it doesn't exist. It is strictly for emergencies. I'm talking about a broken laptop right before midterms, a surprise medical bill, whatever random curveballs life decides to throw at us. But here's the thing. The buffer isn't just about feeling safe so you can sleep at night. It acts as a boring but vital shield that directly protects your investments. The worst thing you could possibly do as a beginner investor is to be forced to sell your stocks at a massive loss simply because you desperately need quick cash for an emergency. The buffer ensures I literally never have to do that. My investments can just stay invested, riding out market crashes and personal crises alike. Moving on to Step 2, the fund engine. This is your core portfolio. Let's look at the numbers. If I manage to scrape together, say, $100 to invest this month, $85 to $90 of it sits safely in low-cost index funds. Only $10 to $15 is reserved for individual stocks. This engine is designed to be completely boring, entirely unsexy, and wildly effective. Remember, I'm not gambling my hard-earned, tightly budgeted money away here. I'm deploying it methodically. And inside that massive index fund slice, roughly 90% goes into a broad global index fund. That captures the steady, reliable growth of the entire developed world. The remaining 10% goes into an emerging markets fund. This just adds a small sliver of exposure to faster-growing, slightly more aggressive economies. It can be a bit bumpier, sure, but it offers fantastic diversification. Now, relying on index funds over single stocks for your core portfolio is absolutely crucial. Buying an index fund means you're owning a tiny slice of thousands of companies all over the world. If one single company makes a terrible mistake or even goes totally bankrupt, you'll barely feel a ripple in your account. Contrast that with betting all your money on just one company. For beginners on a tight budget, the risk of a single stock wiping out months of extreme frugality is just way too high. Index funds give you that crucial safety and steady growth. Okay, Step 3, disciplined stock picks. This is your smaller, disciplined slice. Because you are using your own hard-earned money here, you have to follow strict rules to avoid blowing up your portfolio. There are 3 massive guardrails I use. Rule 1,
you must have a 5 to 10-year horizon. I am buying companies I truly believe in for the next decade, not jumping on whatever internet hype is trending this week. Rule 2, focus on quality and value. Companies that actually create real, tangible value in the world. And Rule 3, which is absolutely vital, zero overlap with your index funds. We want to avoid impulse buying and daily trading at all costs.
Seriously, don't secretly double your bet. It is such a common trap that so many beginners fall into. Think about it. If your global index fund is already packed with massive tech companies and you use your special 10% stock slice to just buy more of those exact same tech companies individually, you aren't diversifying at all. You are just concentrating your risk. Always checking for fund overlap ensures that your individual stock picks actually add something new and unique to your overall portfolio. Finally, let's look at the rules for unstoppable growth. These are your unstoppable habits. These 4 rules form the absolute bedrock of the strategy. First, a long time horizon. Look, I'm not trying to be rich by next semester. I am trying to be wealthy when it actually matters. Second, absolutely no trading. I don't try to time the market, I don't react to scary news headlines, and I certainly don't log in to check my account every single day. I just buy consistently. Third is compounding. And fourth is diversification, which, as we discussed, is achieved by mixing global funds, emerging markets, and very careful stock picks. Let's talk about compounding for a second, because it's literally magic. Compounding is reinvesting all your growth so the snowball gets bigger entirely from its own size. As a student, time is hands down my greatest asset. Early on, I promise you, it feels like nothing is happening. It's slow, it's boring, but by refusing to interrupt the money, time eventually steps in and does all the heavy lifting for you. You literally just have to leave it alone. So, bringing the whole strategy together, the buffer gives you your short-term safety. The index funds are your long-term core, the individual stocks act as your conviction picks, and time provides the heavy lifting. Every single one of these levers, how much you save and how long you are willing to wait, is entirely within your control, even if you are a broke student starting with absolute zero. You really don't need luck, you just need the structure. I want to leave you with a provocative question to really chew on as you evaluate your own financial discipline. Between living uncomfortably frugal to save the cash in the first place, or having the immense patience to never check your account and actually leave the money alone once it's invested, what do you think is the hardest part for you? Think about that as you start building your own quiet wealth. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.